Welcome to the journey of CyberLogic, a guide to Final Fantasy XI. Episode 25, Obtaining and Upgrading the Kikoku. Now in this episode, we obtain the Kikoku and upgrade it to level 95. This is an important step to boost our DPS before taking on further endgame content. Now the first thing we must do is obtain the base Relic weapon. To do that, we need to get it to drop from an enemy inside of Dynamis. Now for the Kikoku, we need to go to Dynamis-Sandoria and get the Hintanto to drop. Getting it to drop is relatively random, and I suggest killing the mobs on the lower level side of the map for quicker kills and greater opportunity at the drop. Now after it drops, we need to obtain Relic Steel, Tarask Skin, and Twin Thread from the auction house, and either purchase or farm 400 Bind Bills. We trade all of these items to the goblin called Switchsticks in Castle Zival Bailey's, and after waiting a day, he rewards us with the Mimiziku, the second tier of our weapon. Now to get to the third tier, we need to trade the Mimiziku along with 3 katanas that can be purchased off the auction house. They are the Wakizaki, Kabu Tawari, and Sakura Fabuki. Trading these along with 1600 shells that you can either buy or farm will reward us with the Rugetsu. Now, to reach the tier 4 weapon, we need to enter Dynamis-Beaucedine and kill Hydra monks, ninjas, and thieves to get a villain's fortune parchment to drop. Now this can be an annoying drop to get that I've had to take well over 50 kills to get at times. Now this item allows us to spawn Mildeno at H10. Now a rather challenging enemy at this level, he is a monk, ninja, and thief. This means he's going to start off with using 100 Fist as soon as he is engaged, so make sure that you're ready for that and ready to deal with it. I recommend using at least one trust tank here to help speed your way along and your ability to do damage. Now shortly after 100 Fist wears off, he's going to then use Perfect Dodge. This is a good time to rebuff yourself and enfeeble him if at all possible. Shortly after Perfect Dodge wears off, he is then going to use Magian Trials, which can easily kill members of your group if you haven't depleted enough of his hit points to this point in the run. So you want to be getting in as much damage as you can, as quickly as you can, as you fight this enemy for the entire fight, to make sure that his hit points is as low as possible by this point in time. Now a minute or two after he uses Magian Trials, he's going to start this entire cycle over again, starting with 100 Fist. So you really want to make sure that he's dead by that point. Now he only has about a third of a chance of dropping the specific item that we want, as he only drops one of the 3 attestations in his drop pool on each of his kills. So this means it may take several kills to get the attestation to drop that you need. Now in our case, it took over 20 kills, but thankfully I was finally able to see the attestation of legarity drop. We then head back to Switchsticks in Castle Zival Bailey's and trade this along with our Rugetsu and 6100 bronze pieces that we can either buy or farm. Once we trade him all those items, he will reward us with the 5th tier of the weapon, the Yoshimitsu. Just one more upgrade tier to go until the weapon is finally useful and grants us the access to the weapon skill of Blade Metsu. Now for this last tier of the relic, we need access to Dynamis Zarkabard. Now to gain access there, we need to complete the hardest task in our entire journey thus far, and in fact, the most difficult task we have in the process of obtaining and upgrading the Kikoku. This is beating the Dynamis-Beaucedine boss, which goes by the name of Angra Mainyu. Now Angra is an evil eye type mob that is spawned by trading the Leering Bijou to the question marks at J5. Now there are many things that make this particular boss challenging. The first is the 4 shadow dragons that will immediately spawn with hate on the person who spawned the mob when the fight first begins. Wind, Poison, Fire, and Petropucus will be the name of all of these shadow dragons. Now they're going to strip your shadows pretty much as soon as you can put them up, and after they get TP, the use of Body Slam and their dangerous breath attacks will bring the party to its knees in most situations. To complicate this, at around 50% hit points, he will teleport to a random location in the area. You need to quickly find him while still keeping engaged with one of the shadow dragons so that your trust are still active. Complicating this is at some point he will use Chain Spell and then start spamming the Death Spell. Now ideally, you want to immediately disengage once you see him use Chain Spell and run as quickly as you can, as far away from him as you can. However, I've tried this method several times now, and even if I'm the third target in his list, he still gets me just before I get out of that 30-foot casting range. Now complicating this even further is even if I did get out of casting range, I would now need to stay alive with all 4 of the dragons on me, but with that evil eye trying to chase me down. This is going to make it so that more than likely my trusts are deactivated since I've now run outside of the range of that evil eye. So this is kind of a difficult thing to manage solo at this level with all these things going on. One of the things I also tried to do was take out those shadow dragons first to make my life easier. And every time I've tried to do that, it feeds them so much TP that they quickly take out the group with all of their body slams, making it a non-viable strategy. Therefore, the best tactic I found was to just purely focus all of your damage on the main NM for the entire run, even through his death span, in hopes that I could finish him off in time. Now, I got very close on several occasions, getting him as low as 3% health at one point, but after weeks of trying, I just got frustrated, and while farming one day for another pop item for the boss, I found an eye level 119 thief in the zone, and asked him if he would assist me in getting this kill. Now the plan was for me to spawn the dragons and kite them while the thief took care of the main evil eye boss. Now sadly, on our first try, the thief got him to 1% health before dying to his death spam. But in our second attempt, I was able to kite the mobs for just long enough for him to take out that main boss and get me the Dynamis-Beaucedine win. Now I'm confident that a solo win of this at level 96 is possible, but I will say incredibly difficult, and will take timing, skill, and a bit of luck. Now that we have our Dynamis-Beaucedine win, we can head into Dynamis-Zarkabard to finish obtaining our Kikoku. Once we enter Dynamis-Zarkabard, we need to first seek out and kill the satellite kunai until we get the drop called the demonic goad. Now the drop rate seems to be about 5%, so it could take you a few kills until you see it. We then trade this item to the question marks at G8 to spawn the animated kunai. Now the animated kunai has a good amount of hit points and will take a few minutes to defeat because of this, so you want to make sure that you prepare yourself for a long fight. Now the animated kunai will use Blade Metsu, which can do upwards of 1500 damage if it lands, so make sure that you keep your shadows up at all times, and the fight should be fairly straightforward. Now there are a number of mobs around the spawn location that can aggro you, so make sure you stay high up and out of the way on the platform so that you don't attract attention during your fight. Now the NM drops the demonic fragment 100% of the time, so unlike the issues that we had in the glacier getting the attestation, we should not have to spend near as much time here in Dynamis-Zarkabard. Now after the item is in hand, you aren't quite ready to leave yet. You now want to head for where the entrance to the castle Zival Baileys would be, being sure to look out for the shadow dragons that you're going to see as you climb the last hill up to the entrance of the castle. Now you're going to want to kill these shadow dragons until you get the Necropsych to drop from one of them. Now the drop rate seems to be about 10%, so it won't be quite as bad as getting the goad from the kunai. Now when you fight these shadow dragons, make sure you use caution, as body slam is still quite devastating for your trust at times. Now once the demonic fragment and Necropsych are both in hand, we now need to head to a new location to finish our relic weapon. We need to head to Sea Serpent Grotto and go to map 3, location C10, and trade all the items along with the Yoshimitsu katana and 10,000 bind bills to complete our relic weapon and have it upgraded to the final tier, and we can now use Blade Metsu. Now in addition to getting the weapon itself, we also end up getting 3,000 of the 10,000 bind bills that we traded back, so you can go ahead and resell those to get some of the gil that you inevitably invested into this relic weapon back into your inventory. Now even though we have upgraded the relic weapon now to its final tier, unlocking the use of Blade Metsu, it's still only level 75, and further upgrades can be done to the weapon through working with the Magian Moogle. Let's now look into what that process and those trials look like. You can find the Magian Moogle in Rulud Gardens at H5. Now trading him the Kikoku will allow you to undertake quests to increase its power substantially. Now the first of these quests is trial number 1051. In this quest, we need to use our new weapon skill of Blade Metsu on 200 birds. Now there are lots of places that one could get these kills, but I chose to head to Abysia and start getting Cure there. Now in the next 3 episodes in this series, we will be heading into Abysia as our next endgame event, so this was kind of getting our feet wet with actually entering the zone for the first time. Now I quickly get the 200 bird kills in, and head back to the Magian Moogle to complete the quest and upgrade our Kikoku. Now we next undertake Trial 1052, where we need to have Blade Metsu perform the killing blow on 200 Arcana. Now I found the easiest place to go for these was into Sky, where there are lots of Arcana to kill with a single weapon skill. Now after less than an hour, I was headed back to the Magian Moogle to complete the quest and upgrade the Kikoku to the next level. Now our next Magian trial is 1858, in which we needed to have Blade Metsu be the killing blow on 300 Amors. Now for this one, I went back into Abysia and took on Worms for quick single weapon skill kills. Now after a little over an hour, we once again had the kills needed to complete the quest, so we headed back to that Magian Moogle, where we were able to upgrade the Kikoku yet again. Now, our next Magian trial is 1859, where we are once again using Blade Metsu for the killing blow, but this time on 300 Aquans. Now for these kills, I headed to Kuftal Tunnel to take on the large amount of crabs spread throughout the map. Now along with the Kraken Club, these once again made for quick kills that were complete in a little over an hour. Now upon returning to the Magian Moogle, he once again upgrades our weapon, now to level 80. Now our next trial is number 2269, where we will need to get the killing blow on 400 undead mobs. Now this one can be kind of annoying and took me closer to 2 hours. I chose to go to Eldamine Necropolis and take on the skeletons for my kills in this quest. Returning to the Moogle now upgrades our weapon to level 85. Now for our final 2 trials, we get to take a break from the killing blow trials, thankfully, and for our next trial, number 2680, we need to kill our old friend Mildeno in Dynamis-Beaucedine 5 more times. Now depending on how quickly you can get those villains' fortunes to drop, that can either take as little as an hour or as long as several hours. Now once completed, we now head back to the Magian Moogle to upgrade our weapon to level 90. Now for our final trial in this series, we need to defeat the animated kunai 10 more times in Dynamis-Zarkabard. Now just like with our previous trial, this can take as little as an hour or as long as a few hours, depending on how quickly the demonic goads drop. Once complete, head back to that Magian Moogle one more time to upgrade your weapon to level 95. Now at this stage, we have boosted our base weapon damage by 18 over our level 75 weapon. We have an additional 15 attack on it, and our Blade Metsu damage is now boosted by 25%. We are now ready to take on further endgame content at level 96. Also keep in mind that there is one final Magian trial, numbered 3576, where you need to trade 5 Umbral Marrows to the Moogle chest. Now these can be bought off the auction house, or gotten as a drop when defeating the Dynamis Lord in Dynamis-Zarkabard. However, completing this quest will boost the level of the Kikoku to level 99, so we don't really want to complete this until we finish playing all of our content at the current max level of 96. That's going to be it for the 25th episode in the Journey of CyberLogic. I hope you're enjoying the journey. If this is your first visit to the channel, and you're enjoying the content, please click on the subscribe button under the video, and the bell icon next to it to be notified when my future videos are released. If you want to see how we got from level 1 to this stage in the game, you can check out the earlier episodes in the series that will be linked at the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Stay safe and stay healthy out there.